welcome back to Dirt Rally 2. And when we're talking about rallying, nothing has eclipsed the power and pure speed of the Group B cars. But if you're talking about just rallying of any kind, the modern-day rallycross supercars definitely take that cake. There is no production vehicle that is petrol powered or gasoline powered, however you want to pronounce it. There's no gasoline-powered vehicle on the planet faster to 60 than a WRC car. 0 to 60, sub 1.9 seconds. That's absurd. That's almost dragster territory. But Dirt Rally 2 has this funny thing where it doesn't let you put rallycross cars against rally cars. So I went into the free roam, little mini-map, and devised a course that would allow me to test any class of car against each other. And let's start off with the lowest class of rally car here, the H1 category, as it is called here. And, well, it's the slowest. It's pretty obvious this is going to be the slowest. It's a Mini Cooper from 1965 with 100 horsepower front-wheel drive. It's not exactly going to be challenging the Audi Quattro anytime soon. However, it is actually quite nice to drive. I like how it drives. It's perhaps a bit understeery, but all in all, you see there's a little bit of understeer there, but it's nothing terrible. I can certainly manage it. We do have a quick chicane, very tricky chicane in the higher speed vehicles, and I do use a little bit of handbrake just to help get it around that very technical corner through the warehouse section. We are now exiting the warehouse, and you can see the understeer really kind of struggle with this vehicle. It's manageable, so it's not bad in that respect, but it is bad in terms of just sheer amount. They have a nice little high-speed chicane. The bumps are very nasty, you can see here. They are rally cars, but that does not mean massive crests like that will not cause issues. They will. And there is a jump there. Obviously, it's not going fast. I think that's a top speed of 100, probably. Not maybe 90. It's not very quick in any stretch of the imagination. However, you know, it's going along. We do have another chicane here. The brakes, I found this on a fair few vehicles. When you hit the brakes heading into that corner, it did like to chuck the car to the left, which is very irritating because you have to go to the right. And that's generally not a good thing. Now, this is one of the most narrow parts of the course right here. It is straight, which is nice, but the entrance is certainly sketchy with that wall being quite a hindrance. Another brief bit of handbrake just to help get around the corner. And then we have a massive two-wheel moment to learn why not to cut the corner there. Yeah, there's a little bump, a little debris there on the corner of the building, and that will cause all sorts of trouble. One more corner to go around. I guess it's like a well or something. I don't know. Like a fire? Who knows? But we are around it. You do a 270-degree turn, and then you go across the line, the bushes, mark the finish line, and the Mini is finished. Up next is the H2 class. This is a Fiat 131 Abarth, 3-time WRC champion, so you're expecting pretty good things from this, and to be honest, you are expecting this to significantly beat the Mini here, and it does, you know. It's rear-wheel drive. This one almost 200 horsepower in this. It's a Group 4 car for being in real-world spec, not just the game's H2, H3, etc. spec. And it's a good car to drive. It is the quintessential 70s rally car, really. Many sideways, not much movement. You know, not much. We're going, what, 65, 75 here? Which is, you know, nothing to slouch at off-road, but, it's also not as quick as we'll see later on. Almost, we're actually getting hints of airtime. I think the wheels are still technically on the ground, but, we're getting there. The crest there did cause a fair bit of issues for the Fiat here, but we get away with it. We don't spin out, which is always good. This is a very tricky course. I did a lot of practice runs, and I think it was a Rallycross supercar. This, not the fully fledged. I think it was the Fiesta Superlight. So I took some practice runs with on this one, just to make sure I could learn the track, get used to it, etc. And even still, it's not the perfect runs. You know, we run a little bit wide here, corrected with a boatload of power, and I still cut the corner, although not as severe as the Mini. Really need to learn that. But whatever. Big oversteer is not really what we want for that corner. We have one more corner to go. The oversteer there can actually help you out a fair bit, as it helps you, like, the quick flip around does help you get around the corner faster, which is nice. And then we go between the bushes across the line for the Fiat there. Again, a significant improvement, When we move on to the H3 class, the next fastest class I tested, I used the BMW M3 because, well, it did have limited rally events, and it's a bit more of an unusual one, usually known for touring car racing in the DTM class, but it did have some limited run, this E30 M3, and it was quite a quick rear-wheel drive car, as many sidewayses almost hit the door, but we recovered it nicely. This is one of the faster rear-wheel drive cars of the day, in fact. It's not quite Group B spec, but for the air, it's probably Group A spec, is what I think this competed in. And yeah, it's not bad. I like it a fair amount. It's just nice to see different rally cars you don't normally. I mean, everyone knows Launches, Peugeots, Fords, all that stuff. Everyone knows those in rally, but very few people know the BMWs, the M1, or the 1M in this case. M1, I'm an idiot, I did a whole video on that, goddammit. M1, E30, the whole shebang, and it's nice to see them, and it's a pretty good car to drive, I must say. I like how it drives. It's oversteering for sure, but it's manageable, which is better than some vehicles, I will be honest. Looking at you, Porsche 911, but, it's a good kind of car. I was very surprised. You can see absolutely chucking, but it loves to go sideways. It is an absolutely lovely car to go sideways in, and it just holds the slide very well. So maybe not be the fastest line, but it is very spectacular. I've learned my lesson almost on cutting the corner. Still pushing it. Not quite as spectacular as the Mini. Very few will, but it made it. It made it without too much hassle. I always fear about popping a tire on there. Anyway, around the hairpin we go. Where we go, actually very nicely through the 270 as we go across the line for the E30 M3. We go to a completely different rally series, this one being the cross kart. It's not really a rally cross car, it's not really an off-roader, it's kind of a weird in-between, and I've had many experiences with this vehicle, this egg really. None of them are good. I hate it. I hate how it drives. I don't like it. It's a twitchy. It's like if the MG Metro got even lighter, with even more power, with an even smaller wheelbase, which is terrible. It accelerates like mad, it's twitchy, and, well, yes, it makes a lot of noise, it's not actually that fast in the long run. And I just don't have any confidence in the car whatsoever. It's not really a car. I just don't like it. You see there, this is the best run that I got, and it's all over the place. I mean, that's pretty much perpendicular to where you want to go. The bumps, avoid them at all costs, really. You cannot go fast on these bumps at all. In this vehicle, it gets incredibly unsettled. In fact, it's going on a normal corner, and it has absolute panic attacks. It's just terrible to drive. It has far too much power it's like 120 horsepower, but it weighs less than 500 pounds with the driver. Yeah. It's stupid. I don't know who races these in the competitions, but, I really hope you make progress through the field so you can, get out of those cars as quickly as possible, because they are death traps. I don't know what to say other than I don't like it. I don't trust it. The acceleration is far too much for the lack of control through the corners. However, this is the first vehicle that did not have the corner cutting, the curb cutting issue that all the others have had so far, which is kind of ironic, considering how terrible it is to drive. But yes, one more corner to go, and we are finally going to head across the line. You see the twitch there. We are going to finally head across the line for the cross karts and never speak of it again. Now, at some point, we had to show a Lancia. And I might as well pick not only my favorite Lancia of all time, my favorite rally car of all time, the 037. This is the Evolution 2 version, and this is of course, the last rear-wheel drive car to win the World Rally Championship. And, well, against this field, it was likely to struggle. Because it is, well, at the end of the day, rear-wheel drive and mid-engine, which every other vehicle in this list, bar 1 or 2, is front-engine, and everything else on this list is four-wheel drive, except for 1. So, yeah, it was always likely to struggle. And it was very nice to drive, especially for a rear-wheel drive car. I liked the handling a lot. It was very similar to the BMW in that respect. I really liked chucking around these corners. I certainly do not disagree with Roll at all in saying that it was a perfect handling car. It would, you know, Dirt Rally is always a more simulation-based game, so I've never been the biggest fan of those, but this is a damn good car to drive. It looks brilliant, it drives brilliant, it sounds brilliant, and it is the fastest rear-wheel drive car we have, which is pretty good, saying something, you know. That's no bad thing, being the fastest of this class. There are going to be faster non-four-wheel drive cars to come, only one of them, but rear-wheel drive, this does take the cake, and certainly the prettiest of all the rally cars today. I mean, no one can deny. I had a very tough decision between picking the best Lancia to run here, because I only wanted to run one manufacturer each, but I think I made the right choice with the 037 as you go across the line. Now, I know I said the Lancia was the fastest rear-wheel drive rally car, and I stand by that statement because, yes, the Camaro RGT is snuck here in 10th. But it's not really a rally car. I can't find any examples on the interwebs of a actual Camaro going actual rallying in the RGT class. So there's that. But this is a fast car. It's by far the biggest car of the day. A massive 6.2 liter V8 in this one. Almost 500 horsepower. And yeah, it's a monster. Again, I don't think it ever went rallying, but it's certainly no slouch in this field, being right in the mid-pack near enough. So I think it did well. I think it did well considering it is, well, a big American boat compared to these nimble European lightweights. By far the heaviest here, over 3,000 pounds. It's one of the only cars here to be actually over 3,000 pounds. I think it might be the only one, actually. Yeah, it's good. It's not bad. It's probably one of the better of the RGT cars. It's a weird sight for sure. I like it. It's different, which is why I chose Chevrolet, because I don't see anyone actually rallying Chevrolets at all. I've seen a Chrysler rally. It's called a Talbot though. So yeah, Chrysler and Ford have rallying histories. Chevrolet does not for some reason. Who knows? But yeah, I like it. Unless you count Opel, but whatever. I'm getting off topic. Camaro. You would think it's terrible, way too heavy, way more powerful than everything else here, bar the rallycross cars. But it's actually pretty good at using its power. As you can see here, I'm not too worried about oversteer or anything as we go across the line for the Camaro RGT. This is a Subaru Impreza. And not just any Subaru Impreza, the Subaru Impreza 555 that brought Colin McRae to his first and only Drivers' Championship in 1995. Now, of course, it can't be the 555 Subaru because that's a tobacco company, and tobacco in video games is frowned upon. But it is a very, very good car, and you can only drive it one way. Flat out. Because that's what Colin McRae would do. Flat out, foot to the floor, absolutely chucking it around, many tire smokes, many revs, sideways, everywhere, very close to the wall, in fact. Didn't plan on that, but there you go. And it's a blast. I don't know what more to say. It's a brilliant vehicle. It's not scary fast like the R5 cars or the Rallycross cars. It's not, I say slow, H1 cars, H2 cars. It's like a perfect balance between absolutely chuckable and then being able to utilize that speed and power once you get out of this corner. It's a very good balance, this Group A car here. I absolutely love it. It was by far my favorite car to drive, even more than the Lancia, I will freely admit. The Subaru Impreza here from 1995 is more fun than the 037. Because it is so chuckable, because it is so controllable. And yeah, I go a bit exploring, but look at that slide. Maybe it's not the fastest perfect line there, but it's not a bad line either. And in terms of spectacle, you can't beat it. It's very fast through that high-speed left-hander. We got one more turn to go. We gotta rip the handbrake, absolutely spin the wheels up, just as he would just run to the line and across the line for the Colin McRae Scooby. This is indeed our fastest non-four-wheel drive vehicle. It's called a Volkswagen Polo GTI Rallycross car. And it's an interesting Rallycross car because it's front-wheel drive. Yeah. We only had two front-wheel drive cars on this field, the Mini that we saw at the beginning, and this. Quite a big difference between them. It is the slowest of the Rallycross cars, as you would expect, being the only non-four-wheel drive one, if you exclude that kart thingy that sucks. But it's, for being front-wheel drive, I thought it would have a lot more torque steer, to be honest. Has about 220 horsepower, something like that. I do clip the wall, which is not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. No significant time lost on this run. And I mean, it's a Rallycross car, it's good handling, it's pretty good accelerating, especially for being a front-wheel drive Rallycross car, which I didn't think they made front-wheel drive Rallycross cars, but there you go. I always thought this one was four-wheel drive, but no, front-wheel. Front-wheel is the fastest non-four-wheel drive car. And it's an instrument. You can see it does not like the bumps very much. It's very light, less than 2,400 pounds. But it does, despite being a Rallycross car, which deals with massive jumps, sometimes even bigger than the WRC cars, it doesn't like the bumps at all. I mean, granted, these bumps are significantly bigger. They're almost rally race style bumps, but still, I was expecting a little bit better from the Rallycross car, as he had it to some 85 miles an hour. Again, very impressive for such a short straight. And there's two more corners left to go. You see the front-wheel drive traction loss. It's not necessarily hindering turning too much, but it is hindering overall acceleration and lap time. I almost go the wrong side. That would be bad. I would be shot off in the wrong direction if I did that. But we go around the corner, not too much of a problem. Get on that acceleration as much as you can and across the line for the front-wheel drive Rallycross car. This is a Fiesta. I think of it as the entry-level WRC car. It's got a roll cage, it's got some rally tires, it's got some safety other features besides the roll cage, and that's pretty much it. It's bare bones, minimum essentials for rallying. As a result, it is pretty good to drive. It's not the fastest by any means, but it is, all in all, a pretty solid choice if you want to go rallying on a budget. And I like the handling of it. It's a very good handling car. It doesn't get too much understeer. Have a little bit of a down on the brakes just for security reasons. Get very close to many poles. We probably lost a mirror or two, I'll be honest. If the mirrors could fall off by getting close to stuff, we would have lost both mirrors, I'll be honest. That was very close. I didn't think I would make it, but yeah, it's cutting them quite close. It's taking the definition of apex to a new level. I almost miss the jump. It's not really a jump in this car, but almost miss it. I recover it just in the nick of time. Yeah, many cars are lost during practice on that jump, running wide and rolling over. It's not ideal. Again, a little bit of a dab to the left when you go into the braking zone. It's not ideal when you need to turn right, but whatever. And I was impressed. I mean, this is, to be fair, modern day technology. Faster than the Group A Subaru, which is very good for being, I think it's 190 horsepower, 200 horsepower in this car. Not exactly the most extreme power-to-weight ratio, and yet modern technology can beat the old guard, if you will, the Lancia 37, the Subaru Impreza 1995. Yeah, not the greatest through the through the 270 at all, to be honest, but we do eventually get across the line with the Fiesta. Subaru earlier, and now we have the antithesis of that car, the arch rival, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. I went for the 10 version because I didn't want to use the 6. I love the 6. It's one of my personal favorites of the Mitsubishi rivalry. But I want to go for the 10. It's a bit different, it's a bit modern. It's in the NR4 category here. And it's another very chuckable car. It's very similar to the Camaro in several ways. It is much heavier than the rest of the competition, but it is also four-wheel drive, as you can see there, with a reverse entry into the second warehouse, which is not ideal. It's very spectacular, very Ken Block-ish, if Ken Block used Mitsubishis instead of Fords or Subarus, but whatever. I like it. It's a very good car. It handles nicely. You can really chuck it about. I find it very similar to the Impreza, ironically. 20 years apart, and I find a lot of similarities in terms of chuckability, drivability, acceleration, and the power-weight ratios are quite similar. This has a lot more power than the Impreza, but has more weight, so it's very similar in terms of power-weight ratio, and that means it is quite chuckable. So why is it so much faster here in 6th place? Well, it's from 2010, not 1995. That's a pretty big time gap for suspension evolution, brakes evolution, the whole shebang there. And that just means it's a lot better through the corners, a lot better accelerating, a lot better under brakes. So that is the reason why it is so much faster, but it was very fun. Not quite as fun as the Subaru drive, and it's not the greatest into the final corner, but darn good car to drive. Lots of fun. I really enjoyed it as the Evo crosses the line. We always knew they would show up eventually, the Group B cars, but where would they be? Well, I chose the 205 T16. Peugeot basically took a 205 GTI, which is brilliant, and then stuck the engine in the middle, turbocharged it to the nth degree, put a massive wing on it, and made it four-wheel drive. And that means this little hatchback has a conservative 450 horsepower. Now that's what the game run, is 450 horsepower. In reality, Peugeot is running about 550 on the rally stages, and in theory, they could bump it up to 650 without trying too much. Get very close to a pole there again. Group B cars are always terrifying because, while the modern day cars get their speed from suspension and tuning and aerodynamics and all that stuff, these cars get it from pure power. Because aerodynamics was just starting to be a thing that was really taking hold. And, well, these were not exactly heavy cars. This Peugeot here is just over 2,000 pounds. It's a bit of a two-wheel moment, but this Peugeot is just over 2,000 pounds, 450 horsepower. Again, with that Formula 1 turbocharger on it, you can easily get 650 out of it. And you can just see the acceleration. It's brutal. You can see why these cars, the Peugeots, the Audis, the Fords, were competitive in rallycross until 1992. Because they're insane. And, well, Peugeot was one of the lucky cars to never have a fatal accident associated to its name. Ari Vatanen did, I think it was Ari Vatanen, yeah. Ari Vatanen had a near-death experience in one. And you can see why, it's quite terrifying. It's quite terrifying. I've always regarded the Group Bs as the scariest vehicles in the world to drive on rally stages, and this is no exception. Even with this wide space as this, the Peugeot goes across the line, and I'm probably going to need a new change of underwear after that run. just sneaking its way onto the podium is the R5 class. I'm using the Skoda here because Skoda is not in enough games, and I have to represent it every single time it comes into a game. And the R5 cars are basically our equivalent of the modern-day WRC cars. We obviously don't have the WRC cars because they have their own license game with all their cars. So they don't have the yards, they don't have the Fiesta, that stuff. But we do have the R5s. And the R5s are freaking quick. Over 300 horsepower, four-wheel drive, modern-day technology. And it's like a Group A car in terms of power, a little bit more in fact. But it has even better handling. So it is very easy to drive. It's one of the easiest cars here, actually. I do get very lucky. I clipped the pole and amazingly bounced off without losing any time. But yeah, that's calling a close encounter. And you can see it's just so easy to drive. It's not the fastest accelerating because it doesn't have the sheer power to weight ratio, but it is so easy to drive, and you can brake so confidently, and you can turn so confidently. It's really easy. I really like the handling of this car. And again, that's because of the modern suspension, the modern aerodynamics, the whole shebang of that. That is why it is so fast. That's why rally cars these days are so much more controllable. I hit the wall again. Yeah, the Skoda likes walls, on that corner specifically. But, again, they haven't costed us any time. So everything is so far so good. We get very close again to the pole there. Yeah, I get on the brakes nice and early because they have this nice little switch back here. Like so. One more donut around. And then we just have the straightaway across line with some half-decent acceleration. R5 car just sneaking its way to the podium. Well done for Skoda. This is an MG Metro, but if you look at it subtly, it is different. It's got bigger vents, and it's got bigger aero, and it's got a bigger wing, and it has 50 more horsepower because this is a rallycross version. You see, after Group B disbanded, they took these crazy powerful four-wheel drive cars and absolutely dominated the rallycross series. Heck, a Group B RS200 finished second overall in the FIA World Rallycross Championship in 1992, almost a decade after the Group B's disbanded, and there was a very big slide, almost hitting the wall, but we do just keep it under. It's very spectacular. This vehicle here does have quite a small wheelbase, so you do have to be very careful with it in that regard, but that doesn't mean you can absolutely chuck it about. It should be Formula Drift, not Rallycross, but it's a very quick car. Like I said, it's lighter than the normal MG Metro 6R4. It's even more powerful than the 6R4. I don't think it has turbos on it. I know they were working on a turbocharged 6R4. I don't think this one has them. But, you can see we're going to almost 100 miles an hour on that short straightaway. That's immense speed. That is absolutely ludicrous speed in the little Metro here. Now, granted, in terms of sharing any sort of vague resemblance to a Metro, you do have to look with a microscope, because there isn't, it might have the same windshield, maybe, but it's a complete silhouette racer, really, if we're being honest. And that was the joys of the Group B's. It was a completely silhouette rally series, which has never been seen before or since. And yeah, this Metro, it's only got one more corner to go. It's not the greatest 270, but it is around the corner nicely and across the line for the Group B rally car. This is the fastest car of the day. No real surprises here. It's the Rallycross Supercars. It is a 600 horsepower four-wheel drive Renault Clio, but it does 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. Has incredibly short gear ratios. We're doing almost 60 miles an hour on that little tiny straightaway. It is brutal acceleration. We're hitting over 107 on that straightaway. That's immense speed. And it has almost half a ton of downforce. So it is very grippy, and although you can see that I'm sliding around like a maniac, that is because that is how you get speed out of rallycross cars. If you ever actually watched rallycross, they don't necessarily take the corner, but drift the corner. Because you gotta keep those revs up, you gotta keep the big turbochargers spooling up. And it's a beast. The Group B cars, were fast because they had crazy power, but this is a combination of Group B raw power with the modern day technology of the current R5 cars, and it is a brutal machine. Absolutely brutal machine. And it is fast. It's not terrifying like the Group B cars. Group B cars don't have the handling for their power. This does have the handling. And that means you can absolutely chuck it about. It's a riot. It's not quite as good fun as the Group A cars or the NR4 cars, but it is still incredibly fun, incredibly challenging, because you are going just so fast, but once you get it right, it is a sight to behold as we rocket across line. Fastest time of the day will go to the Clio. And that is going to be, in fact, with some celebratory donuts with Dirt Rally 2, and we'll be back with more